they ruined it. Android 18 and Krillin. Probably one of the best examples of how Dragon Ball should actually go around making couples. Now you see, if you're a long-term Dragon Ball fan, you're quite aware that Akira Toriyama doesn't really know how to handle relationships. For the longest time, two characters would start to like each other, maybe if you're lucky, they might kiss one another, then there's a little time skip, and then boom, they have a kid. One of the biggest examples, of course, is at the beginning of Z, when Gohan is introduced to everybody, nobody having a clue that Goku and Chi-Chi had had a kid. Not even Krillin, Goku's best friend. No one had a clue for 5 years. And of course, we all just accepted that. And I actually held out some hope that maybe throughout all of this, Krillin and Android 18 were actually the best example of how a Dragon Ball couple should be. Throughout the entire franchise, I really relied upon those two actually being reliable, faithful, and actually just cool with each other. Because every single time I thought, every other couple doesn't really seem quite right, even Gohan and Videl, because we saw Videl just become just this average housewife going completely against her character, and despite all of that, in Dragon Ball Super, we saw Krillin and Android 18 together in somewhat harmony. And I was really hopeful that during the anime, we could see more of that, and we did. But then you know what happened? The Super manga freaking ruined it! Yes, chapter 95. Now you're probably wondering, well, why was that a problem? Well, if you haven't been reading the manga, and I don't blame you because at the moment it's just on autopilot, it's basically just covering the superhero movie. So if you want to know what happens, basically, just go watch the movie, okay? But in chapter 95, we finally got an explanation as to why Android 18 and Krillin were actually at the Cell Max fight. And you think, okay, that seems kind of cool, that we actually have a legitimate reason as to why they are there, because one of the jokes that we got was, well, why is 18 there? What can she offer? I mean, at least Krillin could offer some things, and he got a couple of hits on Cell Max, which were very important in finding the weak spot of Cell Max. I'm not even bothered about it now. I don't really care about it, because the reason why I'm so annoyed is because 18 didn't trust Krillin. What do you mean, not trust? Well, you see, as you know, Krillin is a cop. He works for the police, and his duty and his mission was to figure out what was going on with Red Pharmaceuticals. Then he found out that the Red Ribbon Army had something to do with it, and his boss, who just so happened to be a lady, instructed him to go and investigate what was going on. And he then explained, after having gone to see Clean God 2, the movie, with, of course, Android 18 and their daughter Marin, who, to be fair, had been aged up, thankfully, because for the longest time she was really small, and said that he had to go and deal with this. And you think that based on the history that we saw with Android 18 and Krillin, that 18 would go, okay, good luck, or hey, do you need a hand there? Let me come and help you, or something like that, and then tell Marin to go home. Okay, you think that would be the realistic response, but no. He's like, I don't trust you. I'm gonna come with you to make sure that you're not cheating on me. That's pretty much it. On my live stream, I kept it cool, but Hammerrock and I were really disappointed. It's like, are you kidding me? Throughout the entire run, Toriyama had established that 18 and Krillin were rock solid. They were like that. They were able to actually go across all adversities. They were so cool with one another. There was a scene, now a couple of scenes actually in the Super Anime, where I could see them really happy together. Krillin got punched by Goku. Admittedly, he asked him to do it, and 18 was tending to his wounds. And she was doing it, she smiled, she was content. I thought, oh, this is great. Android 18 is really happy, really calm, really chill. Then there's that double episode about Krillin's fears. He overcame them, he found a brand new power, and he made his family proud. And I thought, oh, this is making it even better. This is fantastic. Then during the Tournament of Power, they worked together. And that moment with Ribrianne about how they loved each other, and that 18 really found Krillin attractive and showed that love conquers all, and that love it's subjective. It's about all of these things. And then then of course, 18 doesn't trust Krillin. When did that happen? Is this some kind of Toriyama joke that, oh dear, 18 better go with him in case he's being naughty? Even though I'd already written that actually he's a pretty cool guy and incredibly faithful and really punching above his weight. These two are meant to be the best example of a married couple. And now they're just like everyone else. There's dysfunction in there, and I get it. Not every relationship is perfect, but this was meant to be the best relationship. But if 18 really does not trust Krillin, who at not one single point in their relationship has actually been questionable, he's been very honest with her and actually saved her life, all of these moments have shown that he's really on the level and wants the best for her, to create a new life for them both, to provide a future for their daughter. It doesn't make any sense. And it just goes completely against everything that was written for them for the last, I don't know, nearly 30 years? It just disappointed me more than angered me. No, it angered me a lot because all the stuff that we saw in the Super Anime was completely torn to shreds with 2 pages of Krillin and Android 18 about to go to the Cell Max fight, and then the reason why 18 comes along is to do with a worry about infidelity with his boss. But, oh, don't get me started about what he was doing earlier on in the actual manga arc. I mean, Krillin couldn't even handle a speeding car and a bee. What? So Krillin was already down on his luck because it's quite clear that Toyotaro does not like Krillin one bit. So you just rub salt into the wound by going with what Toriyama provided as notes to make it so that means the reason why 18 came along for the fight was to make sure that Krillin wasn't canoodling with another woman. Really? Is that what you're gonna go with? I mean, of course, there may be cultural differences and stuff like that, but I mean, the manga arc was already disappointing me enough already as to the reason why they're even covering the entire superhero movie already, even though it already actually did well worldwide. It actually grossed more than the Broly movie did. But does this mean that they just want to make sure that everybody has seen it? Maybe it didn't do so well in Japan and therefore they decide to actually then go ahead and actually put it down in paper form so they make sure every single Dragon Ball fan has seen it. And then lo and behold, it's actually not doing that well in terms of manga sales in comparison to Jujutsu Kaisen or One Piece. All of these other manga are doing great or very solid, and then Dragon Ball Super is just way down at the bottom. Why do you think that is? Because they're just rehashing a movie. And for about nearly a year. Oh my goodness. This is just, I was already annoyed about that, and then I was even more annoyed about the fact that 18 and Krillin, it was ruined. It was absolutely ruined. That at this time, Android 18 did not trust Krillin. In fact, you could almost say that GT made them an even more solid couple. In fact, if you think about it, GT made them even more of a unit. And when Krillin died throughout all of that, 18 was devastated the Super 17 arc. I know it's filler. I mean, it's even more filler than GT. But that moment together, it showed how much of a unit they were, how much they loved each other, how much they trusted each other. All of that stuff, their faith, how content they were, how happy they were. Now, why did 18 decide to go, oh, at this precise moment, I think my husband is having it on with his boss? Why would he actually do that? It just doesn't make any sense. Is this meant to be some kind of a joke or something like that? Because it's not a very funny one, and it goes against 18's character. Because 18 is super chill with that kind of stuff. And after about a decade or so, more than that, being in a couple with Krillin, you'd know them by now. And I know that can be surprises in many relationships and whatnot, but I don't know. It's probably one of the most disappointing things I have seen in the entire Super manga, and that's even including Goku giving Moro a senzu bean. I think this is worse, and this just flew by without many people noticing. 18 and Krillin were meant to be the best part of Dragon Ball's relationship with relationships, and now that's been tarnished as well. Of course, I may be over-egging the pudding here, but quite frankly, this was something I really clung on to as one of the best things I saw in Dragon Ball Super, seeing more of 18 and Krillin as a married couple, doing married couple things, stuff that Philly and I do as a married couple. We've actually nearly been married for 4 years, and there are many instances of what happens with Krillin and 18 that we do. I'm daft as a brush. I hurt myself. Philly takes care of it, and then I take care of her, and it's just like this is what married couples do. It felt so real. It felt so plausible and tangible, and then it's had to be ruined by just this one throwaway line. It could have been done completely differently, like 18 decides to go help because she cares about Krillin's safety and she thinks that she can provide some kind of help because it had something to do with the Red Ribbon Army. You could have done something that we did in R&R episode 8 with providing some more backstory about the Red Ribbon Army's relationship with 18, her meeting the Gammas, and then actually having that moment when they can connect and relate. There could have been some much more depth here, but there wasn't any depth. It was there for a joke, and I hated that joke!